Chapter 13. Just then, Ada's brother Arthur came in. He pointed at the racket. "Is that my racket?" He started, but then interrupted himself. "Mom, there's a guy with balloon plants flying around town. I think he's in trouble." "We know," said Mrs. Twist. Arthur looked at his mom. He looked at Ada. He looked at his tennis racket, which was his most prized possession in the world. He looked at Ada again. "How can I help?" he asked. Chapter 14. They sped back to the factory. The bus screeched to a stop, and Uncle Fred pulled the lever to open the door. "Good luck, Ada," he said. They hopped off the bus. "He's still up there," said Arthur, pointing to Uncle Ned. The crowd was even larger now. The monkeys were racing up and down the fire ladder, and the ostrich was pecking at the fire hose. "We're back," announced Ada. "Hello," Uncle Ned yelled. "Let's get to work," said Ada. Arthur opened the bag of tennis balls. Ada took out a ball and grabbed the racket. "What's the plan?" asked Iggy. "I'm going to hit the balls to Uncle Ned, and when he catches them, their mass will be added to his mass, and gravity will pull him down toward Earth. And said Ada. Iggy looked confused. Ada started to get overwhelmed. She needed to explain, but she didn't have time to draw a picture to show the plan. Rosie looked at Ada and smiled. "I get it," she said. "Uncle Ned is like a boat floating on the sea of air. You're going to weigh him down with tennis balls until his boat sinks and Bo can grab him." "You'll overcome the buoyancy force," said Iggy. "See, I got it." Ada beamed. Now all she had to do was make the plan work. "But put the tennis balls in your helmet, Uncle Ned," she yelled. "Okay," he yelled back. "But can you hurry? There are two mean-looking birds on the wall up here." "What do they look like?" said Ada. "They are black and purple and have a V in their tails," said Uncle Ned. "They are swooping at me like crazy." "Do they have orange beaks?" asked Ada. "No," yelled Uncle Ned. "They have beady eyes and a bad attitude." Ada thought for a moment and yelled back, "Do you have any dragonflies in your pocket?" she asked. "No," cried Uncle Ned. "Then don't worry about it," said Ada. "Those are purple martins, and they eat flying insects like dragonflies. They won't bother you." "Phew," replied Uncle Ned, swirling around again and again. Ada grabbed a tennis ball and took aim. "I need to hit it at this angle," she said, pointing up to Uncle Ned. "That's about 100 degrees, said Iggy. "I used an angle like that in my cheese cracker arch the other day. It was delicious." "Here goes," said Ada. She swung the racket. Thwack! The bright green ball flew off the racket and right at Iggy's head. It grazed his hair. It bounced off the wall and knocked the sketching pencil out of Barb Ross's hand. "Hey," said Iggy, "aim for Uncle Ned." "I did," said Ada. She tried again. Thwunk! The ball hit the fire ladder next to a monkey. The monkey screeched at Ada, grabbed the tennis ball, and ran off. "Sorry," she said. Thwop! Thwop! Ada hit ball after ball, and they went everywhere except where they were supposed to go. Ada frowned. She was frustrated. Why didn't this work? Ada studied her notebook. "Why isn't it working?" she asked. "I know how high to hit the ball and how hard. Knowing what to do isn't the same thing as being able to do it," said her mom. Ada's mom was right. Ada knew all about the forces and the angles, but she didn't know how to hit the balls to make it happen. There was only one person she knew who could do that. She handed the racket to her brother. "Can you do it?" she asked. Arthur smiled. "Did world-famous tennis champion Arthur Ashe wear wristbands?" he asked. Ada knew the answer to that. Her brother had 5 posters of his favorite tennis player on his walls. Arthur Ashe wore wristbands in each one. Chapter 15. The dark clouds were looming closer, and Ada could see the far-off trees swaying in the wind. A storm was coming. Soon the wind would reach the factory, and when it did, everything would change. The eddy that now trapped Uncle Ned would collapse, and he would be set loose from its grasp. Then who knows where he might fly? "Hurry, Arthur," said Ada. "We're running out of time." Arthur grabbed a tennis ball. Thwack! The ball lobbed into the air and soared gently over Uncle Ned and right past him. It dropped to the ground with a gentle thud. "Too hard," Arthur said, and adjusted his grip. He tried again. Thwack! This time the ball aced high into the air. Uncle Ned reached out and grabbed it. The crowd cheered. Uncle Ned took off his helmet and put the tennis ball inside. "Keep going," said Ada. Thwack! 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 Arthur hit ball after ball into the air. After one another, they flew close enough for Uncle Ned to catch it and put it in his helmet. As Ada had hoped, Uncle Ned dropped a tiny bit lower in the air. The plan was working. The crowd went wild. "Yay!" they cheered. "Arthur! Arthur!" "Arthur! Arthur!" Like his favorite tennis player on center court at Wimbledon, Arthur took a deep breath and focused. Thwack! 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 Arthur hit the tennis balls perfectly. Uncle Ned missed a ball, but he caught the next two. As he added each ball to the helmet, he dropped a little lower. He hovered a few centimeters out of Bo's reach. Bo stretched as far as his long arms could go. "I can almost reach you," yelled Bo. "Hurry, Arthur, the storm clouds are coming." Indeed, the clouds moved closer and closer still. Thwack! "One more," yelled Ada. Thwack! With perfect precision, Arthur lobbed a ball high into the air. The ball soared up, 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 and into Uncle Ned's outstretched hand. Uncle Ned grabbed it and plopped it into the pile of tennis balls in the helmet. Chapter 16. Just then, a large dragonfly zipped past Uncle Ned's head. One purple martin spied the dragonfly and zoomed after it. Swoosh! The bird swooped past Uncle Ned's right ear. Swoosh! Another purple martin, zoomed past Uncle Ned's left ear. They fluttered and tumbled through the air like acrobats. Just as Bo's fingertips touched the tip of Uncle Ned's shoe, the dragonfly landed on Uncle Ned's nose. "Help!" cried Uncle Ned, dropping the helmet and slapping his face. The helmet crashed to the ground. The green balls hit the steamy, hot asphalt and bounced in every direction. Boing, boing, boing. The lemurs, monkeys, and ostrich chased the balls right into the crowd. People shrieked and eeked. It was chaos. Ada, Iggy, and Rosie watched in horror as Uncle Ned popped higher into the air and out of Bo's reach. "Help!" he yelled. "Do something!" The tennis balls bounced like gas molecules spreading out in every direction, just like the molecules that spread out from Arthur's hot, stinky shoe. Ada remembered her experiment and what she had learned. The hot shoe was stinkier than the cold one. At least the stink of it had reached Ada's faster than the stink of the cold shoe. That meant that the hot air molecules spread faster than the cold air molecules. Ada quickly flipped open her notes. There it was, the answer to the problem. Ada looked at the hot black asphalt down below Uncle Ned. The surface sizzled and heated the air above it, which rose in gentle waves. Stinky, nose-burning, asphalt-reeking waves. And that is what Ada Marie Twist knew exactly what to do. There was no time to lose. Chapter 17. "Quick!" shouted Ada. "Grab the hose!" Ada and Iggy ran to the fire hose, which was laying on the hot pavement next to the truck. "No," said Rosie. "Remember what will happen? You'll knock Uncle Ned out of the eddy, and he'll fly off into that wind." "No, he won't," said Ada. "Trust me." She grabbed the end of the fire hose. Iggy grabbed the hose behind her. Rosie looked doubtful, but jumped in line behind Iggy. "Hit it, Bee!" yelled Ada. Bee flipped the switch on the pumper truck, and a heavy spray of water burst out of the hose. It was more powerful than Ada had imagined. The three friends struggled to control the hose, but they held tight. "Get ready, Bo," Ada yelled, and she pointed to the hose at the asphalt just below Uncle Ned. The water splashed over the hot surface, and instantly Uncle Ned plunged downward. It wasn't much, but it was just enough. Bo reached out and grabbed him by the foot. Bea flipped off the water, and the hose flopped to the ground. Uncle Fred scrambled up the ladder and grabbed the rope dangling from Uncle Ned's waist. "We got him!" yelled Uncle Fred. The crowd cheered. "How did you do that?" asked Uncle Ned. "I remember that hot air takes up more room than cold air, so we cooled down the asphalt with the water. That cooled the air just above it, and that made you drop enough to grab your foot." "Well done," said Uncle Ned. "Now can I get out of these pants?" But there was no time. Just then a strong gust of wind blasted into the courtyard and blew the dust and leaves up and away. The whirlwind was gone. A heavy raindrop splattered the asphalt, then another and another. Raindrops began to fall faster and faster, and the crowd scattered. Uncle Fred tied Uncle Ned's rope to the bumper of the zoo bus and rounded up all of the zoo animals. The questionnaires and Ada's mom and brother hopped onto the bus. In a few moments, Uncle Fred stopped at the Twist house on Milk Lane. "Thank you for rescuing me," said Uncle Ned. "If it weren't for you, I'd be eaten by birds and halfway to Timbuktu by now." "You're welcome," said Ada, as she waved goodbye to Uncle Ned, Uncle Fred, Iggy, and Rosie. Uncle Fred honked and headed down the street with Uncle Ned floating above the zoo bus. Arthur ran up the steps to the front porch of the Twist house. Ada and Mrs. Twist followed him as thunder rumbled in the distance. "Thank you for letting me use your racket," said Ada. "You could be a tennis champion someday, like Arthur Ashe." "Maybe," said Arthur, "but you should stick with science." Arthur opened the front door and stepped into the house. He paused and smiled at Ada. "Actually," he said, "let me know if you want to play tennis sometime. You weren't that bad. But you have to use your own racket. And stay out of my stuff." Arthur tried to look mad, but it didn't work. Ada grinned at her brother as he shut the door, leaving Ada and her mom alone on the porch. Just then, the sky opened up and rain poured buckets onto the roof of the porch and splashed into puddles in the yard. The smell of rain hit Ada's nose, and she closed her eyes for a moment and breathed it in. It was not the kind of smell that curled her toes. It was a warm and cozy smell that mixed with her mom's perfume and was one of the best things in the whole world. Ada and her mom sat and watched the rain plop and splop and splash on the grass. Her mom put her arm around Ada and gave her a hug. "Ada," she said, "I'm sorry I didn't listen to you when you tried to tell me about Uncle Ned. I just didn't get it." Ada smiled at her mom. "I know," said Ada. "You know I'm very proud of you," said Mrs. Twist. "And I know," said Ada. "How do you know what I'm going to tell you?" asked Mrs. Twist. "Because you already did," said Ada. Number 1, the bathroom is not a science lab. Number 2, the pantry is not an ant farm. Number 3, don't put my toothbrush in the earthworm box. Number 4, don't take Arthur's things. Number 5, I love you. Ada smiled. "See," she said, "I always write down the important things so I'll remember. But I have a question." "Just one?" asked Mrs. Twist. "Well," said Ada, "do big raindrops taste different than little ones?" she asked. "And why is the rain gray in the air but clear on my hand? Why do earthworms crawl on the sidewalk in the rain? What if..."